Yo, I went to interview Damon Dash, hip-hop mogul, on the law of attraction and his take on balling. And this is what he had to say.
I definitely believe that in order, you can't visualize something, it's hard for it to become a reality. You know, like, you think about something in your mind and you believe that it can happen, then it really does happen. You know, and I believe what goes around comes around. You know, I believe in, like, you know, if you scumbag somebody, they're going to scumbag you, or rather you'll get scumbag back. And, you know, when you do get scumbag back, it's probably when you least expect it or when you don't need to be scumbag the most. You know, I also believe that, you know, in order to really move further, you have to see the goals. You know what I'm saying? You got to see what you want so you know what you're working toward. You know, like me and Biggs when we were younger, you know, we always used to go and look at real estate that we knew we couldn't afford, houses and apartments and stuff, just so we would be savvy in the marketplace when we could afford it. And I really honestly don't believe there's anything I've ever went and looked at that I couldn't afford at the time that I couldn't eventually, whether it be houses and cars or jewelry. You know, once I know how much it costs, then I figure out a way to get it if I really want it. You know, and I think that's always been kind of important in the big picture.
I asked him, did it take desire or money to ball out with stacks?
It just takes hustle and swagger. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I've always believed in everything I was selling, and I never really did it to be exploitive. Like, I never tried to trick somebody into buying something. I mean, you could always flip. Like, if you're a real hustler, man, you could have $1 and turn it into $2 and turn 2 into 4 and, you know, so on and so on. So there's never really been a financial problem. Like, I wish right now that I had more money to do the things I need to do. But I look at it like, you know, I'm just going to flip. You know, I'll just sell that little 8 and then I'll make it 16. And I got 16 to put back in, and, you know, it just keeps going like that. So money is always an issue, but then again, it's really not an issue. It's about being patient. And truthfully speaking, when, you know, if you have too much money to start with something, you usually end up messing it up because, you know, it's like trial and error. You know, so everything I've done, you know, I didn't go to school for. You know, when I started a record company, I didn't know nothing about running one. It was all instinctual. And the same thing in clothing and the same thing in movies. So, you know, it's probably better that you don't start with so much so you don't fuck it up.
I asked him what his secret was to balling.
I mean, honestly, just like never settling for anything less than the best. You know what I'm saying? For me, I always want the best. You know what I mean? If someone makes, you know, we came from these ideals. If there was a 600 Benz, I couldn't buy a 500. I just couldn't do it. I had to have the best. If there's a first class, I could never ride coach. If there's private jets, I can't ride commercial, that kind of thing. Even though lately I've been riding commercial just because this has been a year of investment. And then you got to know when it's time to grind. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, at times, you know, when you say, look, I'm going to take, like, for example, with me, every time I make $1, I put it back in my business. And that sounds easy, but, like, think about this. Imagine working your whole life for the big lick, you know, or what you consider to be the big lick, and you make $20, $30 million, and you say, you know what, damn, I could live a certain way for the rest of my life. Or you go, I could take maybe a couple of dollars to pay my bills and put the rest back in the street and be right back where you started, with more bills, with more expectation. You know, that's a real hustler. So also with business, it's about will, and it's about not ever being scared. Like, you can't think you ever gonna get no money if there's fear. It's like walking into a fight, doubting yourself. It's like, why fight if you think you're gonna lose? So I never really get into something thinking that there's a slight chance that I'm gonna lose. I always believe in it 100%, you know. And that's what I've done. You know, I got to walk it like I talk it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm a man that funds his own stuff because it's very important for me to be independent. And people be like, you got money. Yeah, I got money, but I put all my money back into my businesses at all times. I could go broke at any time, but not really because, you know, again, you know, I'm a hustler. I just pawn some shit and flip it back up. You know what I'm saying? But there is a time when you re-up that you don't have as much liquid as you want. It's all in the street. And until it comes back, you know, sometimes you got to get on your grizzly. You know, in the street, there'd be days that you'd be like, you know what, I'm going to wear the same clothes for 5 days straight, and I'm going to sit out here and grind. And it's just really all relative. You know, it happens. And then as soon as you finish grinding, you're back to being that fly guy that you once was. Doesn't mean you broke. It just means you focus. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people understand that. You know, and then also it's patience. You know what I'm saying? Like, the difference between, you know, illegal hustling and business hustling is, you know, you directly make quick money when you hustle in the street. You know what I'm saying? It comes right back. Put in the street, next week you got your money back if everything goes well. In business, it takes a little longer, you know what I'm saying, because there's a lot of different things. You got to establish a brand, and you got to build a brand, and, you know, there's a lot more competition. You got to pay taxes on that thing, and but it's more longevity in it. You know what I'm saying? When you're hustling in the streets, you know that, all right, right now you got money, but eventually your future looks bleak unless, you know, you can beat the odds. But with a business, and a real business, if you have patience, if you can sustain, if you can really get on your grizzly and you believe in what you're doing, then, you know, you can make money forever. You never have to worry about your quality of living. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing about a hustler is sometimes you're living good when it's good, and then sometimes you're living bad. You know, you want to be consistent and live a certain way. So, you know, I guess that's my idea of balling. You know what I'm saying? Like, really balling. Owning stuff.
I asked him how he turned Rockefeller into a success.
I mean, I made it a brand. You know, it was known for something. You know what I mean? It was, you know, if you noticed that when you saw me yelling and stuff, I was always yelling because someone was trying to take the credit for some stuff that we had done. And I was like, yo, let us be known for something. And we were known for aspirational living, for getting money, for having the best. And we walked it like we talk it. We basically created a lifestyle that also included friendship and integrity and honor. And if you notice, the minute that was compromised, Rockefeller went down. You know what I'm saying? And it's just real. You know, if you're going to sell something to the people, it got to be real. You never disappoint your consumer. If somebody knows you for being thorough, the minute you're not thorough, they're not going to mess with you no more. If they know you for being a herb and they buy into it, the minute you're not a herb, they might not buy it no more. It's different, you know. But for me, we were built on thorough movement. You know what I'm saying?
I asked him how important is appearance in everyday life, including business.
I mean, to me, as far as clothing and perception, I mean, a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. It's the same thing, like in the street. You know, the minute you buy a car, everybody got a spot for you. Everybody want to get hit with some work. Somebody want to hit you with something. You get a connect. The minute they see a car, the minute people think you're doing good, they want to be a part of it. You know, and also as it relates to the way you look and your fashion, man, I think that's the first form of communication a person has when they see you is what you got on. So I could tell a lot about a person by the way they dress, by the sneakers they wear, the shoes they wear. Somebody come in wearing the wrong sneakers, I'm automatically like, he got to be a clown about that. You know, and then I know a lot about the person's character, what he knows and what he don't know. You know what I'm saying? Or if he has the swag I need. So I think, you know, on a lot of different levels, appearance is very important.
I asked him, was he chilling or does he still set goals?
Always. You kidding? You know, I just came from, you know, it's Oscar weekend. That's what I'm out here for. I was at, like, Barry Diller's house. I thought my house was hot. My house really, honestly, was the size of his guest house. You know what I'm saying? And he had property, you know, I mean, it was just humbling. I was like, I ain't got nothing. I'm a little dude in the big picture. I really know I need $1 billion to live the way I want to. You know, I don't want to be rich for a black urban kid from 142nd Street in Lenox. I want to be rich for $1 billionaire. And the thing about it is, I know once I get my $1 billion, my swag is going to be so much more immaculate than theirs that no one else is going to be able to breathe when I walk through. In the real billionaires club, you know, I know I'd be the coolest cat in that circle. You know what I mean? No one has swag like me. Because I also know that when I'm around these billionaires, I still stand out because of the way I am as a person. You know, the girls are still going to come to me. They're going to come to them because they got that cake. But they're going to come to me because they want to be affiliated with some kind of coolness. And that's important. Your swag means everything.
I asked him how he shook the haters off.
I don't even care about a hater. You know, they don't exist to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it ain't even worth acknowledging. You know what I mean? You know, what you have to understand is for 1 million people love you, at least 100,000 going to hate you. The 100,000 that hate you probably got a bigger voice because they're haters than the 900,000 that love you. You know, it's just like the only reason why they hate is because they're weak. You know, when you upset about another guy doing well and you try to make excuses for it, that's because of a lack of confidence, and that's because of insecurity, because that guy's doing something you wish you could. And, you know, to make it, you make yourself not look as bad or look as weak. You try to make, you know, excuses for that person doing well. You know what I'm saying? But that's part of the game. You know what I'm saying? And I know this because, you know, I've been getting money to relatively speaking for my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I was a little dude. I had a car. When I was 15, I had a Max, and I always had rope chains and all this. And, you know, there was always people that hated that. You know what I mean? Always. And, you know, to a degree, when you do a lot of things at an early age, you get very confident. You know what I'm saying? Not to say cocky, but it's just you know that you've done things that no one else can. And it's not that they can't, they just haven't tried. So you have an air of arrogance about you just because you've accomplished things consistently that people wish they could, but just don't have enough guts to try. So the arrogance comes from me saying you're a coward. You know what I'm saying? And people feel that. Don't tell me you want to do something, but you're scared to do it. It's like a dude saying, I wish I could punch this thing in his face, and he keeps saying it, but when he see him, he don't do nothing. You know, if I say I'm going to do something to somebody, I think it has to be done, or else I won't be able to live with myself. That's the difference.
I asked him how important showing gratitude is towards balling out.
Well, yeah, you definitely got to do that. I mean, you have to appreciate everything you got. When you work for something and you get benefits and you reap the awards, you definitely can't just act like it was a fluke or it was luck and not acknowledge the fact that hard work got you where you got to go. Because the minute you do that, you stop working hard, then it gets taken from you. And then also you got to always pay homage to the people that got you where you had to go. And you should always pay homage to people you respect that have done the things you're trying to do, that have done it, for a long period of time in a consistent way. Certain people that, I got a lot of pride. I'm a Harlem dude, you know what I'm saying? If somebody got a whole bunch of stuff, I don't necessarily mean I'm just going to walk up to him and start being his man just because he's, got money and made a hit record or something. But if someone's been consistent and lived by the ideals that I live by for a long period of time, that's an OG. You got to give him his respect, and you should ask for advice so you know how to move forward to get what he got. So anytime I get around, honestly, a billionaire that I can really kick it with, I invite him to my house and pick his brain. And I got to give him his props because he got something I want. I ain't going to hate on him for it. I'm going to figure out how he got it. And if he don't have as much swag as me, I'm going to be like, damn, he could get it, I could get it. Basically, a lot of the things I have is because I look at the people that got it, and I know I'm better than them. You know what I'm saying? I know I got more courage than them. I know I have, I'm more in tune with the street just because of where I'm from.
I asked him, was it street education or college education that got him where he's at today?
I mean, the thing about the street is you have to live by certain ideals to survive. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of honor that's instilled. And when you can put that into regular business, you can't really lose. What you lose is friends and people that you can make money with that have no honor, because a real man with honor can't work with a man that doesn't have any honor, because you're going to catch the buckshot of his karma. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm always afraid of. That's why if a dude can make me some money, but he's doing it in a way, that's not right, I know he's going to get punished and I'm going to get punished with him. So I just rather just not do it. And I always look at it as a test. You know what I'm saying? But, but also to be able to take all these things, and you have to be able to read, write, communicate. You have to be able to add. A lot of what I do, because I have so many ideas, and I have to write my ideas damn near like cartoons, a lot of PowerPoint presentation. And, I'm a dude that got his GED, but, I went to boarding school. I went to private school as well as public school. I did all that. So the mix, what I'm saying, is important, to live by these ideals, but to be able to articulate them, to be able to write them down. Yeah, I got my GED. I never went to college or that. But, the things I learned, I always knew how to read. I read a lot. I always read. Reading is important, and writing is important. And just being able to add is important. And that's it. And having common sense. All that's important. So the combination of street plus a little education can definitely work things out.
I asked him how important loyalty was in life as well as business.
Loyalty is important in life. You know what I'm saying? But, in business, you have to be loyal to your brand. You can't ever compromise your brand, because people are loyal to your brand. So the minute you're not loyal to your brand, why should anybody else? Once you compromise your brand, then, everyone else is not going to mess with you. And again, I see it happen. Everything that I feel I created, I'm watching it go down, because it's not living by the ideals that I put in the atmosphere. So it's not going to have any continuous success, until things change. But all the things that I've been doing, I've been checking, you know what I'm saying? And, I own it all. So you got Prokez and CEO and Rachel Roy, and, I'm proud to say I don't got no partners. I mean, in this urban thing, people don't understand a lot of these cats that pretend they're doing this, that, and the third, they all work for somebody. They all work for somebody that's not from the culture. They're all partners with somebody. You know what I'm saying? They all have to be nice to somebody to cut a check. To them, I'm the check cutter. Whether it's a big check or not, I still can say, hey, now I got to kiss your ass. Matter of fact, you should be kissing mine, because I'm making you money. I ain't got to ask you for nothing because I earned it. And, by the way, it being that I'm cutting the checks, I'm hiring you. So I could fire people. It's funny, I even hire people that sometimes forget that I'm their boss. And I'd be like, don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? I'm still the boss. I still cut these checks. And it's a power that's important, because, you can control your environment, and you can move when you want to move. And you don't have to be frustrated. I used to be so frustrated dealing with people that didn't get my vision, but I thought were exploiting it. You know what I'm saying? And I just couldn't take it. And they moved when they felt like it. And it was like, yo, you messing with my money and my brand. This was going to feed my children. So I would always look at it like, yo, you messing with the money that I'm making to feed my kids, and you don't care. And that used to bother me.
I asked him how he handles disappointments.
I mean, that's life, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm disappointed a lot. More than anything, I've been disappointed with people and human nature. People that I would never suspect to do and act certain ways. You know, it's like almost damn near almost everyone I've been around has a breaking point. The people that I would never expect to do or compromise their integrity or their brand have done it in a way that I just can't even believe. And I just hope that it never happens to me, because they can't be conscious of it. You can't be conscious of it and know how bad things are and just do it regardless. I think, you know, in some way, like, you know, you think you're doing right and you're really not. So I try to keep people around me that's going to tell me if I'm you know, going to the left or the right, if I'm bugging or not. But the things I've seen, I'm shocked. Actually, I'm not shocked anymore. But I'm constantly disappointed. You know, that goes with life. But I'm more disappointed in people. That hurts a little more when you're close to somebody and they do something that shits on you.
And the last question I asked him was, what makes him happy and what are the most important things to him?
The most important things to me? I mean, my family is most important, really. You know, what makes me happy is being able to take care of them. But, you know, I like to be able to move when I want to move. I like to be able to buy what I want to buy. You know, I like to be able to enjoy my life. You know what I mean? Like the life I live right now, it's not necessary. I don't got to ride around in private jets, and I don't have to have a cook or a chef. I don't have to have a driver. I just want it. You know what I'm saying? And it may be a good or bad thing. It may be superficial, but regardless, I want it, and I provided myself with an environment where I can have it. You know what I'm saying? And as I get older, you know, my balling gets a little different. You know, the things that I thought were a big deal now aren't. Just like I had to realize, like, yo, private jets might not be the hottest thing in the world when I could take that $40,000 it costs to go from here to LA and put it into a business and turn that into 80. The smart thing to do is take that 40 and turn it into 80. You know, and truthfully speaking, I shouldn't even be chartering a jet. I shouldn't be on a private jet till I can own it. And that's just where I'm at with it, because I'm on my grind. So, you know, it's all relative, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if 10 years ago, where I'm at now, I would have considered it a mansion. You know, now I consider it a guest house. You dig? So it's all relative, really. What makes me happy? It's all relative. It's like the more my eyes are open, the more things I see, the more money I make, the more I know I don't have no money. You know what I'm saying? Until I hit that Billy or that 250 liquid, not that worth and all that, like that liquid that I could touch it and feel it, I could just jump in it anytime I feel like it, I don't even consider myself with no real paper. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I provided a lot of opportunity and had the potential to make some real money, but the reason why I never wrote a book is because I'm not a billionaire, and that's what I aspire to be. So there is no last chapter for me yet until I get that billion I was talking about, or until I get that Oscar. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just the middle of the book. I'm only in chapter 1, to be honest. I just started. Like, I don't really think I did too much. I mean, I know I've done a lot, relatively speaking, but it ain't for my standards. You know what I mean? Like, I need that billion. At least have 900 million. You know?
On the 24th of June, I was gunned down by a man I had never seen before. And I just got into it with my baby mom. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! While laying there face down on the concrete, bleeding like crazy, with a collapsed lung, barely breathing.
I can't go out like this. I can't go out like this.
I realized that the more I changed my thoughts towards the positive outcome that I wanted to take place, the more I came back to life.
Can I get you anything?
All of this happened just 2 hours after writing the idea and intro to this audiobook, Thinking Ballout.
What up, Ken? What you doing? Writing rhymes, you know, putting the lyrics up?
Nah, I'm writing down this idea I got for this motivational book. I'm gonna start writing. What's cracking with you though, man?
Thinking Ballout is the first hip-hop motivational book, and also the first that breaks down the law of attraction on how we all draw certain circumstances to ourselves from a predominant thought. Thinking Ballout is for anyone that wants to get their brain game up, reach their goals, shake the haters off, and ball out with stacks. Believe that. Y'all don't sleep. Wake up and ball out. Ball out. Ball out.